Forgive me, I'm testing to make sure that everything's working. Yeah, looks like we're good. It looks like we are, in fact, live. All right. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm really glad for anybody that pops in or anybody that watches this video later. Of course, I am streaming on both YouTube and Twitch via Restream. And as you have probably noticed, there is a little bit of a change. I have a little bit of a self-made watermark. This is a branding technique that I will be using. Books by Morgan Lionheart. That's kind of my brand name. And I, of course, am Kai Hanata Plays / Morgan Lionheart. I haven't decided if I'm going to. At one time, I had my gaming and my other exploits separated. I haven't decided if I'm going to redo that now that I'm actually going into a specific brand, but we'll see. And I will definitely let you guys know via Facebook and or Twitter. My Facebook page is actually, I have a new one. It's called Books by Morgan Lionheart, actually. And my Twitter handle, of course, at the moment is Hinata_Kai or Kai Hanata Plays. Again, like I said, I don't know if moving forward I'm going to change and separate the two or not. They're both kind of anime related, so I'm kind of like, I've seen other YouTubers and they do both, and it seems to work fine for them. But I don't know if maybe professionally it's better to go one way or the other. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here because I am here with another review for you. A little while back when I first started my original English light novel journey, you may have seen another review that I did. It was by Joshua Piedra. And it was fantastic. It was called AR Dragonfly. If you haven't read it, I suggest you go on to Amazon and take a look because it's a great book. There are many of them now. I believe the series is up to 12. I think the main AR Dragonfly is finished. I need to ask Josh about that personally, but I believe the main one is finished because he has a sub-series called AR Dragonfly Origins, which goes more into kind of the past of the main characters. So definitely check that out as well. On that note, actually, I will be having a little bit more of an in-depth announcement later, but I wanted to let you know that something else that I have been trying in my original English light novel writing is not only promotion for myself, but promotion for these other authors out there because they are extremely talented. They have a story to tell and they do it very well. I know several of them that I've met on Facebook. I've read their work and it's just phenomenal of the things that, people come up with. Uh, and in that regard, I have created a website. Um, it's called Morgan's OELN Hub. Uh, but right now, because funding wise, um, I have to use the whole, free Wix thing. So there's like my screen name, which is Books by Morgan Leinhardt, actually, and then slash a bunch of other stuff, and then finally Morgan's OELN Hub. But anyways, the the purpose of the hub is it started out as my own author website. I was going on Wix and I was looking at their new uh, Editor X, and I was going to create a website for myself. But then, as I said, like I started to really think about it. I started to think, I really, really want to do something to promote these authors, to lift them up, because, like I said, they're amazing. Um, so from there, it evolved, and I now have uh, an author spotlight where I will have reviews of the different light novels that I read. In fact, later on, after I'm done with this stream, you'll be able to go on there and see this video of Josh Piedra's for Ashe, the review. And then I'm not quite done with it yet, so that part will still kind of remain hidden. But there's also going to be an affiliate library. There will be a button where on each one of these books by these authors, and it will say, author's name, library, and you will be able to go on there and see listed by series if they have multiple of them, all of the books that they have written so far and published, and then there will be another link that will lead you to their Amazon page or what have you to be able to get their books. I was going to make it a shop, but I didn't know how to route the earnings back to them. So I decided, the route to go would be to kind of make an affiliate library where I could have them on there and then have connections to their own affiliate websites. So yeah, when the website is completely finished, I will do another stream specifically dedicated to that. I'll give you a virtual tour of just kind of the website and how it will work, where different elements will live. I have not only their stuff, I also have my stuff, so I'll show you where their stuff will live. In addition to where my stuff will live, I'll show you the forum, which has all kinds of just inspiration about OELN, original English light novels, where our inspirations came from, other original English light novels that we've read that have inspired us, anime that we've seen that's inspired us, all of these different things. We'll have all of these categories that authors and readers alike can just come and just share. So it's going to be awesome. I'm having a little bit of some technical issues with the library page, but I'm slowly, getting it done. Thank you so much to the Wix team because, they're not open on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, I call them, and within maybe a half hour, they call me back and are able to help. Usually it's within like 10 minutes. And they sit on the phone with me and go through it step by step to figure out what is going wrong and how we can fix it. And it's amazing. So I'm really, really appreciative to the Wix team and Wix.com just for helping me to do this. All right, but enough about that. Let's actually talk about the main focus of this. Yes, I'm saying main focus. That was not the main focus. Let's talk about the main focus of this stream, which is my review of Josh Piedra's for Ashe. From Ashe. I messed that up, but that's okay. This book, this series, there's 3 of them out right now. A little bit of a disclaimer though. I'm only going to ever review, unless there's only one, I'm only ever going to review the first volume of a series. I may mention the other volumes in my reviews, but my goal is to get you interested in the series without giving too much information. So I'll give you, the core of the first book and my review, and then I will show you guys or tell you guys where to find this book and then also the rest of the series. But From Ashe is actually really, really interesting. It's about a young woman named Ashe Sawyer. Now, Ashe has this dream of being a writer. And that, right off the bat, is actually really, really, its own, because obviously I'm an author. And so, having a story that is about an author, basically, is really, really cool. But more than that, Ashe has this dream of being an author. So she writes these short stories and she posts them online. But she struggles a lot. Every time that she posts a story, people just thrash her. And I've never personally been absolutely thrashed, but I do know what it's like to get a kind of negative review. I actually posted one of my stories on a website for web novels and original English light novels and whatnot. And I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just they were letting me know that my pacing in my story was a little bit strange to them. And that was one of the things that led me to my rewrite, but not the only thing. Anyway, so Ashe has this dream of being an author, but she's struggling profusely. And she's trying really hard not to get discouraged because she wants to make this work. She wants to succeed. But there are other things going on as well. See, this is a story that not only just goes into Ashe's writing, but it actually goes into Ashe's life as well. And things are complicated. You would think living with your best friend would be a great thing. If you live with your best friend, then it would be a party all the time, right? Well, not really. And yes, I realize that that's probably a little bit of an over-exaggeration, even for real life, but for Ashe, even more so. Don't get me wrong. Reggie is a good guy. He is. He cares very much about Ashe, and he wants to convey those things. But darkness in his past and the anxieties that blossomed from those things have made communication for him very difficult. He does what he can for Ashe, but he doesn't really communicate with her. When they speak, it's basically one or two words that will come from him. And this is really hard on Ashe because she is thinking back to the days when she and Renji were younger, and he was a really happy kid, smiling all the time, especially when his best friend would come to visit him. But then something happened, and suddenly that smile was gone. And it's really difficult because they care about each other. But because Renji can't communicate, there's a lot of frustrations and a lot of misunderstandings that come from all of that. That and, well, you know, that friend who you first meet and you think, oh, wow, they're really well behaved. But then they get really comfortable around you and you realize, they really have no filter, do they? That's Ashe. Yep. That's Ashe. And it's actually really interesting because the way that Josh describes Ashe and the way that he writes her in, he does that. Like, when the book first starts and you're reading, it's like, oh, this isn't so bad. I mean, she's a little over the top sometimes, but, you know, it's not so bad. But then you realize Josh is really just easing you into the person that is Ashe Sawyer. She's very... I wouldn't say she has no filter, but she ignores her filter constantly, especially when it comes to Renji. And the thing is, she doesn't mean any harm by it. She's trying to, most of the time, she's just trying to get a laugh, or at least, you know, make him feel a little bit, maybe a little bit uncomfortable to where it's kind of funny. But she never means anything bad or malicious about it. Unfortunately, with the way that Renji is, sometimes her teasing can really get to him. It's really kind of difficult when that person is the person you live with. On top of that, you know, we're talking about the life of this young woman, so of course we have to get into her job. And oh boy, yeah, Ashe's job. That's a whole nother thing altogether. It really is. Because she's a writer she's supposed to be she works on the websites and she does email blasts and she does, all of this promotional work basically for the company that she works for. Um, yeah, her bosses are more than just a little bit difficult. You have the main boss who is just constantly, constantly not really on your case, but he's kind of forgetful. He tends to sometimes make more work than is probably necessary. And he's really kind of condescending. Uh, Ashe basically describes it as he has two personalities. He has the one personality that is, for other people, and he's very generous, he's very kind, all of this. And then he has his work personality where he is a jerk, to put it mildly. And, then you have the next step down who Ashe doesn't really mind him. He's actually a really nice guy. He comes to Ashe's defense a lot. He cares about the people that work under him, but he's very forgetful. Now, it probably doesn't help that they do have a lot on their plate, but he'll tell Ashe to do a job. And he'll tell her rather, to do it a certain way. So she does it. Then the next day he looks at the website or whatever it is she's working on, and he'll ask a bunch of questions about why things were done this way, and you need to change this, you need to change that, and it's like, but you told me to do it this way. And he doesn't recall that. At first you would think that that was not really the case. Of course, there was no way he could actually forget, but he can. He actually does forget a lot of the time, which makes things a lot harder on, Ashe and her coworkers. But, it's not all bad. Speaking of her coworkers, she has two friends that she gets along with really well. There's Aubrey Campbell. Aubrey Campbell is basically Ashe's work best friend. She is, she understands frustrations, obviously, that comes with the job, but she's also very attentive and she listens very carefully when Ashe has other things on her mind, usually that have to do with Renji and how difficult things can be with him, and how she tries to communicate certain things, but he just doesn't respond. She's very supportive. And when it comes to the job, I think it's every Friday, Monday or Friday. I think it was Monday. Anyways, they go out to lunch and they have what they call their weekly therapy session, which is basically they go to lunch, get some food and some drinks, and they just, no hesitation, no being, professional or nice. They just have it out with every single little bit of stress about the job that day and that week, or sometimes even last week. And that's very helpful to her because the therapy sessions, they don't necessarily have to be about work. As I said, they can be about her relationship with Renji. They can be about her writing. Aubrey is just somebody who listens and really, really wants to be supportive. And then there's Jace. I'm not going to give too much away because they don't they don't really go too much into it until volume 2. But I don't like Jace. At first I did because when he's first introduced, he just seems kind of like Aubrey. You know, he works with Ashe and he seems like he's a really nice guy and he just wants to help her out. But Jace, of course, has ulterior motives. Let's put it that way. And there are things about Jace's past that do explain a little bit as to why he is the way that he is. But honestly, I really don't think it makes up for it. I just don't like him very much. But when I first started reading for Ashe, it was a little bit of a slow process because I was busy with other things and I was, trying to balance my writing, working on other personal projects. And I just didn't have the time. That's why this is going up actually way later than I had intended. But I'll tell you, once I actually did get into the story, I barely wanted to put it down until I was finished. It's not one of those. I mean, the book is fairly short. It's not one of those quick reads. If you actually take the time to understand the complexities of the reading itself. There's one point in which I'm just trying really hard again to connect with Reggie, and she gets so frustrated because, as I said earlier, she remembers him for who he was. He's having such a hard time with who he seems to be now. So she does the only thing that she can do, the only thing that she can think of. And she leaves his room, goes to her own, and she writes a story. And this actually brings me back to when I watched Little Busters, an anime by Visual Arts Key. Because there's a point in which the main character, Riki, is trying to communicate and relate to one of his classmates, and she's very, very shy, very, very standoffish. But that's when you start to realize that the reason why she's that way is because she's actually really depressed. And they have this moment where she actually does open up to him and she wants him to help her write a tanka, which is a Japanese poem. And she's talking about all of these different things that at first kind of go way over your head. But when she writes the tanka, she talks about becoming a white paper airplane so she can fly away with him and just be free. But then she starts talking about transforming into a white bird that goes to the land not touched by the sky above or the sea below. And a little later on, you get to see just how heavy that is because of what she's actually talking about. And when Ashe writes this story, I am going to spoil a little bit because this part just really, really actually resonated with me. She writes a story about a crow. And this crow is surrounded by this just dead area that is this thicket of just nothing. The grass is dead, and it's a horrible area. And the crow starts to think about just succumbing to it, being enveloped by it. But then there's this light somewhere in the horizon, and the crow starts to fly, and it's flying towards this light. It's trying to get there, but the more it tries, it seems like the more the expanse of nothingness just grows, and these different things grab at him to try to stop him from getting to where he wants to go. And then he lands. And again, he starts to have those thoughts of maybe I'll just stop here. Maybe I'll just, land here, and that will be the end of my journey. But then there's another side of him that doesn't want it to end that way. He wants to reach out to this light. So he spreads his wings and he starts flying again. And he gets there eventually. And the hands come out and they take him in. When you are depressed, especially when it's high level, and I have known people that are at this level, it feels like you are in a expanse of just dead. But if you take the time to try to strive towards the light that's trying to reach out at you, whether it's a person, a friend, or a family member, or sometimes maybe even a religion, and you take the time to realize that no, you don't really want to stay in the same place. So you pick yourself up and you try even harder to make it this light. If you're lucky, you realize that it's even a lot closer than you think it is. Not only that, but most of the time, when people think of crows, they think of bad omens. They think of, these just horrible images that go through their heads. But when Ashe is writing about this crow, she explains that there's another side, that they're actually a symbol of, of rejuvenation, of redone, and of hope. And you really, really get to feel just how much she's trying to reach out to this one who is best friend, this one who she cares so deeply about. I think the thing that really connects with me about this story is not just the writing portion. I mean, that's great. It helps to bolster us, really, as writers, because we realize that, yeah, we're gonna have those people that might not necessarily like what we're doing, and we're going to have those times when we really need to kind of take a step back and say, is this really the best that we can do? Or can we expand? Can we, you know, learn more? Can we develop further? And it's something that Ashe has to do. And she gets help with it. But what's really, really interesting is that when it goes into her stories, most of them that she has shared so far are, fantasy, another world type stories. And I mean, they're good, don't get me wrong. They they have the potential. But I think honestly, the best story and the one that I think she did the best at was the one about the crow. And I think that's because for just that day, she wrote about something that she truly understood. Or maybe not that she necessarily understood, but that she lived with. And, that's one of the things they say is that life is the biggest inspiration that we can have. And I think when Ashe goes in and she's trying to reach Renji, that was when her best writing came out. I think about, you know, some of the stuff that she had to deal with from the critics. And of course, I think, I think Josh was kind of over amplifying it a little bit just to kind of, prove a point, prove the point. But I think about all of these things that Ashe had done and has done and is continuing to try to do to grow and to expand not only as an author, but as a person. And I think that that's extremely, extremely inspirational. Granted, she still could possibly work on that filter a little bit. But it's funny. I mean, come on, you have to have a little bit of humor in brunt of the seriousness. Because, like I said, a lot of what is in this, a lot of this content is extremely heavy, but that humor of just Ashe not only really making a fool out of whoever she's teasing, but basically making a fool out of herself. It's just really, really hilarious, and that's I think you need that kind of comedy relief when you have a story that has this many layers. But I love it. These are the type of stories that I love the most. And oh man, from Ashe, volume 1 and 2. I'm almost done volume 2, and volume 3 comes out September 1st. We're supposed to learn more about Ashe. We're supposed to learn more about Renji's past. Both of their pasts, I think. And a little bit more as to, why Renji ends up feeling the way that he does at the end of Volume 1. And the things that transpire after that, and oh boy, I can't wait for that. Because a lot of it does need an explanation. I love Renji as a character. I really do. I love Ashe as a character, but you need to understand them a little bit more. Granted, like I said, at the end of Volume 1 and 2, you already understand them quite a bit more. You understand, just how much all of this weighs on Renji, how much all of this weighs on Ashe, and how much, even if they say only a single word in an entire conversation, still how much they lean on one another. It's kind of amazing, actually. Kind of amazing. But yeah, that is from Ashe. Story, an original light novel about just life and the aspirations of a young author. So go on Amazon, check it out. You will not regret it. From Ashe, Volume 1 and 2 out now. Volume 3 coming September 1st. 5 stars all the way. And that is my review. All right, well, with that out of the way, I think, unless I get the website done before that, the next stream that I do will be a gaming stream. I'm not gonna try to set a set schedule anymore. I tried that for a long while, and I even put out a tweet today. Between my personal projects and the just sometimes not feeling motivated, it's difficult. It really is. But I will keep you guys in a loop. I will keep you involved either on Facebook or Twitter or both. I will let you know the day before when a new stream will be coming out. And like I said, if I don't see you before then, I will definitely be back in September because Tales of Arise is coming out. I'm excited. I gave in. I got the demo. Glad that I did because now I'm even more hyped. So, unless the website gets done, tails will rise next time you see me. Until then, thank you for coming to my stream and hearing my review. Seriously, from Ashe, Amazon. Go check it out. And check out the other books by this author. The AR Dragonfly series, which again I reviewed in a video quite a while ago. Came out quite a while ago. That is also on my YouTube page. It's not on my Twitch page. It's only on my YouTube page. Because back then I was only doing YouTube. But yeah, check it out. Check the books out. And I will see you all again soon.